You know we're on this thing, right? We're on this kick about John the Baptist, right? Starting to look at the different relationships of John the Baptist. What does Daddy got to say? It's very imperative that you, if you want to know my daughter, that you come see me.
Right.
I have two daughters, and I have two occasions where young men have come to me and asked for their hand in marriage.
Three.
Three?
I've been engaged twice.
Oh, that's right. Sorry. 3 times. I did say 3 at the beginning. I knew 3 was in the picture somewhere. But they want to know what Dad thinks. How Dad feels. We live in a day and time where Dad don't count much anymore. Dad not even in the picture. People got kids, and kids get married if they decide to get married. They don't think like this is so old school. You're actually going to come see Dad and see and get permission. May I have the right hand, like the right hand of fellowship? Can I get your daughter, take your daughter's hand in marriage? And being Dad, sometimes we have to investigate this person and see if he's worthy of taking my job. Yeah, my job. My job was to cover her, right? To cover her. And so somebody else is now going to cover my job. So I need to know you fit for the task.
Right.
It's imperative that I make sure that you don't go out there finding some knucklehead. And there's actually a verse in the scripture that talks about the vows of a wife and the vows of a daughter in the book of Numbers. We're not going there, but you have to do some research. So let me back up and say hi, everybody. All praises to Yahweh and Yahshua, our king, the king that we were just talking about.
That's right.
Right? The Messiah. Welcome to the Ark of New Jersey, to everyone that's here, that's watching near and far, right? Those that are blood descendants and those that are drafted in. And I really want to talk about this thing about blood descendants. We're going to talk about that because when we talk about John the Baptist, there's something to do about the blood, right? For many years, I've sat under teachers and preachers, and I listened to them talk, and I sit there and say, well, wasn't that written to? And then you would see who it was written to, because it says it right there in the book. And they would make it out that he's just talking to everybody. And some of the scriptures was not talking to everybody. It's talking to a particular group. So when the man would come to my house, they didn't say, I want to talk to Mom. Can I talk to your brother? They want to talk to Dad. So we're going to get there and look at Zach. Because Zach had a story to tell about his son before his son was even born. When you sit back and listen to Zach, you're going to start hearing some of the prophecies unfolding about what my son is going to be. Everybody got kids. You want to know what your child is going to be when they grow up? Can anyone see what their child is going to be before they become an adult? Can anyone see the track of like, this child is going to be a knucklehead, a good for nothing? That's the story that a lot of us tell our children. But has anyone looked at their child and said, that child's going to be a righteous person? That child needs to be, we need to make sure that we give them all the components that he becomes righteous. Okay, so I've sat under people that were renowned in their field of study. And I watched their children, and I've seen the children take on the same characteristics as dad. I've seen martial artists train and teach, and their child grow into the dojang and grow up, and they become a martial artist. I've seen teachers and preachers preach, and their son going away to seminary or cemetery and growing up to be a preacher and a teacher. I've seen people where their children were already predestined to do something before the child had sense enough to know what that destination was. I don't know anyone that I could say an angel spoke to them and said, this is what your child's going to be. But I've had people with foresight, what's the word? Premonition. I can't even say it. Premonition. Yep. Right? Knowing that, I'm going to give a shout out. She's gone now from this planet. Her name was Arizona Richardson. A very, from what I perceive, godly person. When my oldest daughter was sitting aside and not involved in some of the shenanigans, she was like, she had a daycare center, so she would go there after school, right? And she said, leave her alone, because she's going to be a prophet, a preacher, or she's going to marry into. She saw what Jade would be, my oldest daughter, and Jade became what Sister Arizona, what Arizona already saw. We saw as a child in all three of our children, and that's why Robin said we gave them their first book, and in that book, on the first page, we wrote Romans 12. And because we knew that that these children were set apart. You may think, you think it so highly of your children. You ought to be thinking highly of your children. The problem is most of us think less of that. We expect our children to be no more than what we are, when they really should surpass what we are.
Right. Yeah. Right.
Really?
Yep.
If you were a track runner, which I was, right? You should expect your children, one of them maybe, to be a track runner and to surpass you, which they did. Right?
Right.
Given everything you have, everything that you have to help that person to get to where that person is. It got to the point that I would come home saying, we won that race. And they're like, you didn't win anything. No, you're living out your child's life through yourself. Yeah, you got a problem with it? She went on a 5-year scholarship, fully paid.
Wow.
To a Division I school. Because her dad saw that in her and worked with her. Because I didn't see her as, well, maybe you'll be okay. I saw her as being a state champion in high school. I saw her going to college and breaking college records. All of which she did. So let's go. We're going to come back to Zach, but I dropped you off someplace last week, and so we're going to pick up where we dropped off, Luke 9. Look at my time. I just looked at my time. I'm talking out loud. Talking out loud, they saying nothing. Luke 12.
9.
Luke 9. Luke 9. See, you guys distracted. Let's start at 46. Somebody read for me, please.
And a reasoning arose among them, who might be the greater of them. And Yahushua, having seen the reason of their heart, took a little child and placed him by his side, and said to them, Whoever receives this little child in my name receives me, and whoever receives me receives him who sent me. For he who is least among you all, he shall be great. And Yohanan answering, saying, Master, we saw someone casting out demons in your name, and we forbade him, because he does not follow with us. But Yahushua said to him, Do not forbid him, for he who is not against us is for us. And it came to be, when the days of his taking up were being completed, even he set his face to go to Jerusalem. And he sent messengers ahead of him. And they went and they entered into a village of the Shamaronim to prepare for him. And they did not receive him, because his face was set for the journey to Jerusalem.
Okay, so let's back up. I went too fast, too early. Let's go back to 23.
And he said to them all, If anyone wishes to come after me, let him deny himself and take up his stake daily and follow me.
Okay, hold on, don't go anywhere. So we're looking at Yeshua, and he says, if anybody wants to follow me, and you just read, take up his stake and follow me. A lot of people's book says cross.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Anyone know why the book says cross when his book says stake?
To throw you off.
Hallelujah.
Make you think of JC and not of Mashiach.
Because JC and the Sunshine Band twisted it and put the word in there. The word is actual stake.
It's a tree, basically.
It's a cross beam that you would carry to your crucifixion. The cross beam they would take the cross beam and tie and nail your hands to the cross beam. And then they would impale you, hang you on a tree. And on the tree you would hang, and then they would nail your feet to the tree. JC and the Sunshine Band wants you to believe in taking this cross. And so now you're hanging crosses on your neck. Now you're putting crosses on top of your church.
Images.
Now you're creating a false image of what Yah is trying to direct you to. 90, if not more, percent of the people that carry a cross do not bear a cross beam or cross. They don't. They're hypocrites. They only wear it for show. The very building that they use to worship in has it in front of it on the doors all over the place, but very seldom do you find the people actually bearing it. All right, come on.
For whoever wishes to save his life shall lose it, but whoever loses his life for my sake shall save it. For what is a man profited if he gains all the world and is himself destroyed or lost? For whoever is ashamed of me and my words, of him the son of Adam shall be ashamed when he comes in his esteem, and be in his fathers, and of the set apart messengers. But truly I say to you, there are some standing here who shall not taste death at all, till they see the reign of Elohim.
Now watch what happens in 8 days. Because we want to go here before we get back, go back into Zach's prophecy. Come on. So,
But and it came to be about 8 days after these words, taking with him Kepha and Yohanan and Yaakov, he went up to the mountain to pray. And it came to be, as he prayed, the appearance of his face changed, and his garment dazzling white. And see, 2 men were talking with him, who were Moshe and Eliyahu.
all right, so these 2 men, he finds 2 men talking to the disciples. He only brought up a handful, right? This is like behind the scenes, because the rest of the disciples, the rest of the followers, they didn't get to see what was going on here. And it says that Yeshua was all by himself praying.
Who had
His disciples, the ones that were with him, were half drowsy and sleeping, not really paying attention to what's going on. I could use that in the Hebrew walk. How many of us have waken up but are still drowsy? They know who we know who we are, but we're really not fully awake. Anybody wake up from a good sleep and you really don't, you're like, sometimes you sleep so hard you don't even know where you are. Some of us are like that. Some of us are waking up and some of us are getting a little bit more sensitive to what's going on around us. But these guys were kind of drowsy, and then the light went off. The light went off. Read.
who having appeared in esteem, spoke of his death, which he was about to complete at Jerusalem. But
What verse are we in?
31.
Okay, back up to 29.
And it came to be, as he prayed, the appearance of his face changed, and his garment dazzling white.
Okay, so in the other versions, I mean, not the other versions, the other scriptures talk about the same incident. And they said that his garment was so white, it was whiter than anyone could bleach a white sheet. It was just radiant white. So the question that I have to ask before we go any further is, how do they know who he was talking to?
I was just about to ask that question.
How does who know?
How did his disciples, there were 4 disciples there, and how did they know who Yeshua was talking to?
You know,
That's a good point.
Moses and Elijah.
The spirits, the Ruach, the same way Peter knew.
And it had to be the Ruach, because unless they had badges, name badges. So how do you see somebody hundreds of years after they're dead or after they've left this planet? Because Elijah didn't pass the way we know, right? How do you recognize them? They didn't have cameras. They didn't have, okay, so we came through the airport, went through the facial recognition, and they recognized who we were as soon as we walked into the building. See, the world's trying to catch up to Yah. So we could walk, you could literally walk, I could walk into a airport, sports stadium, and the powers that be know who I am and where I am. And then they can track down and try and tell me what phone calls I made and where was I at before I made it there. Because they got all, but how do these guys know? The FBI tell them? How do they know that this was Moses and Elijah? All right, that's a question.
We drew a question.
Huh?
We drew, we painted.
We drew pictures of
I'm,
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
when you go inside one of the apocryphal books, it talk about how the heathen tried to paint the likeness of the images. So they it's like they had coins with people faces on it and all kinds of different things like that. I'm not saying that that's how they knew,
Yeah.
but the,
Well, that's good because I just was like, in my mind, I'm like, how in the world they know?
we've been good artists. I mean, as human beings,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and folks can you don't know what their skill set was.
Yeah.
Oh, was that a sin to draw image?
It's not venerated or worship.
Right.
It's different.
Yeah.
To worship, when you talk about the commandments, it's about worshiping those images. Don't draw anything to be worshipped. The golden calf was to be worshipped.
Somebody think that I look good and does it a portrait of me. I can't tell them that they didn't commit a sin for doing that. That's not it. But when you start making images and you start putting them on the wall and deify them,
Make
and
a
making
altar.
right.
Okay.
Make
Now-
a
now you
space
just
in your
went-
house to like honor them.
Candles and flowers and stuff.
Because you can go to a 7-Eleven or a convenience store and you look over in the corner and they got their little god, their little L there. They got they're putting
Candle and
incense up, right? And they worship that.
mirrors.
They got little mirrors, right? Some people got them in their car, right between the seats. Okay, so let's go. We're 29.
Oh, okay. And it came to be, as he prayed, the appearance of his face changed, and his garment dazzling white. And see, 2 men were talking with him, who were Moshe and Eliyahu, who, having appeared in esteem, spoke of his death, which he was about to complete at Yisra'el. But Kepha and those with him were heavy with sleep, and having awakened, they saw his esteem, and the 2 men standing with him. And it came to be, as they were parting from him, Kepha said to Yahushua, Master, is it good for us to be here? And let us make 3 groups, one for you, and one for Moshe, and one for Eliyahu, not knowing what he said. And as he was saying this, a cloud came over and overshadowed them. And they were afraid as they entered the cloud.
Okay, so my people are this just boggles my mind. Like they're scared, they're literally afraid, and a cloud came. And this cloud came, and when the cloud came, they must have been controlled by the Ruach. Because you know what we do when we see something.
We go the other way.
Yeah, we're going, I'm out. I'm out.
It don't look right.
What? They went into the cloud. Did you see that?
Yeah, that's deep.
They went into the cloud. It's like, I pass. This was one of the few times where the disciples that were with Peter followed suit. We know who probably went in the cloud first, probably Peter, because he's the first one to go everywhere. But when he was walking on the water, he's like, "Can I make me to come?" He's like, "Come on." Everybody else is like, "You good? I'm good.
I believe you.
I'm good right here. Nice solid." They walked into the cloud, right?
Who walked into the cloud?
All of the disciples.
See, because I was thinking just as Moshe and Eliyahu, it says they were leaving, but I don't know who they are.
It says,
when they saw them after in the New Testament, after Yahushua HaMashiach,
after they saw the 3 of them,
right, they saw
a cloud came over them,
Right.
and they went into the cloud. All the disciples went.
To prove who it was, this is they feared as they entered the cloud. Moshe and Eliyahu wouldn't fear, nor would Yeshua.
Right.
So
I thought
it
I thought they were sitting in fear as they were walking away, but it's not that way. Okay.
Okay. So let's go. 35.
And a voice came out of the cloud, saying, This is my son, the beloved. Hear him. And when the voice had spoken, Yahushua was found alone, and they were silent, and reported to no one in those days any of what they had seen.
So now it became a secret. You think maybe you ever see something that it just throws you off a little bit, and you're like, I don't know that I want to tell everybody else what I just saw.
Yeah.
That looked too weird, or
Can't
that
explain it.
was too spooky. And I try to tell somebody, they're not.
It's crazy.
Huh? They're gonna say you crazy,
Mm-hmm. Can't explain it.
right?
Tell committed.
So you're gonna be someone's gonna come with the straight jackets and away you'll go, right? But they kept this secret to themselves, and immediately, what we read earlier, immediately Yah's countenance, not only did it change right then, his direction changed. From that point on, he did two things. He started telling his disciples and teaching them what had to happen in his life. For the rest of his walk, he showed them and told them what he was going to have to go through.
Mm-hmm.
And they had to, then they listened to his teaching. They listened to his, what he was saying. And yet, when it happened, they ran away. He prepared them like a good football coach prepares you for the game.
Mm-hmm.
But when the other team comes and smacks you in the face the first time, they just run down and score a touchdown and they just dominate. You forgot all about all the rules that your coach just told you. You're now, what's what Mike Tyson say? Mike Tyson said something real good. Like everybody got a game plan until they get punched in the face. And now everything's all new. Like they done forgot all about all the tricks that they learned.
Mm-hmm.
This cloud, I want to talk about this cloud because this is not the first time Yah shows up in a cloud. This is not the first time that he speaks out of the cloud.
Mm-hmm.
Name some.
When he was leading them out of captivity, out of Mitzrayim, there was the cloud that went over top of him.
When he led them out of Mitzrayim, everywhere he went, he had the cloud on top of him speaking to him.
That was his Ruach.
Give me another one.
When he was talking.
And then
When he
was on Mount Sinai.
When he was talking to Solomon when he was young. When Solomon was young.
Same thing. When he was what's this?
When he was talking to Solomon when he was like younger, but when he was trying to get wisdom from him.
He was talking to Solomon. Was that in the cloud? Samuel.
Yeah.
He was talking to Samuel, but there was the cloud, right?
Yeah.
Okay, let's follow. Keep going. There's another one.
When Elijah ran after his big showdown with the prophets of Baal.
Oh, that's a good
When
one.
he was in,
Yeah. Let's go to the 3rd chapter of Luke. Let's go into the prophecy.
are we ready? Which verse are we?
Let's start at 21.
Now when all the people were immersed, it came to pass that Yahusha also being immersed and praying, the heavens were opened, and the Ruach HaKodesh descended in a bodily shape like a dove upon him. And a voice came from heaven which said, You are my Yeshid, in you I am well pleased. And Yahusha himself began to be about 30 years of age, being, as was supposed, the son of Joseph, which was the son of
Eli.
which was the son of Yechezk'el, which was the son
son of Levi, which was the son of Malchi, which was the son of Yana, which was the son of Yosef,
And it goes on to it's a
which was the son of
it goes on and on. And it was the son. This is the genealogy.
Yahoo 2 times.
Huh?
It says Matthew Yahoo.
Malcolm Yahoo.
Yeah, they repeated names. They named people after other people.
And it goes on and on. Let's go to the last verse since you're reading it, because it just goes on through his whole
Verse
genealogy.
38, baby.
Verse 38. Because this is good. Because if I asked you, if we were taking the test and I asked you who was the son of God,
Okay, so I
who
have
would
to
you
go
answer
to-
before you go
I
any
have
further?
to go to chapter 4.
Hold on. Huh?
I have to go to chapter 4 though.
No,
This is
No, chapter 3, 38.
I mean, the verse 38.
So you're going to see someone else that's the son of God.
Which was the son of Enosh, which was the son of Seth, which was the son of Adam, which was the son of Elohim.
Wow.
So the real son of Elohim is Adam, but they like to say that it's like JC or Yahushua HaMashiach.
Both of them are the son of Yah.
Oh,
Because he created both.
Right.
There was the first Adam and the second Adam. They were both the son of God,
That's why
the son of Yah. It's just pretty simple logic. Just look at it. Who created the? I tell you that some of the Hebrew Israelites are partially awake. They're still like slumber, because some of them start to realize who we are as a people, but don't want to acknowledge who the king is, or acknowledge all of the king.
Right.
Like they'll say he's the king, but Joseph's the daddy. It's not what the book says. The book tells us very clearly he's the son of Yah. Right? That Mary was pregnant by the Ruach. Let's go to John 1.
I mean, it's really a kind of a
Yes?
trick, riddle, because it's Yahushua HaMashiach is his son, but he's Yah in the flesh. So it's like, I don't even know how in my own understanding to reconcile the whole thing right now. I keep trying to come to. That's not that I keep trying to come to it. Yah keeps trying to work with me to fully understand that he is Yah. Like he came to his temple. He walked in there and he started throwing things around because he's like, what are you doing?
What are you
here?
doing in my house?
In my house, like I'm the son of Yah, but I'm Yah in the flesh. Like you don't understand. This is my house, so you need to get out and stop doing this stuff.
So I really, once again, these are, I'm really glad you touched on them, because of the way that they're depicted. So many different angles once again. But Yah who saves, right? Is salvation, Yahusha. Right? So it's really it's not two different people. It's Yah. He's just allowed himself to come in the form of flesh. It's Yah. He didn't even stay down in the sense of death. He didn't stay down. There was no way he could stay down. He couldn't stay down because he's Yah. But so the thing that the people seemingly are saying is, well, the Trinity, but it's Yah. It's Yah. Am I right about that? Because the Ruach, like they say, the Holy Ghost, the Ruach is still Yah. Is Yah's presence. It's his spirit.
Manifestation.
Do yourself a favor and Google Trinity.
Excuse me.
Find out where it came from. Who created this? And you'll find it. What are you saying, Sawyer?
By John 1, do you mean the first John? Or?
Just regular John.
Saint
Yehukanan,
John.
baby. Yehukanan. The first one before the 3.
Oh, did I tell you to go to John?
Yeah, he said go to
Yeah.
John
Oh,
1.
I'm sorry. Luke 1. I'm sorry. We're going to back up to Luke 1. Because now I want to refocus in our aim on what did Zach say? What Dad say about John? Right?
Oh yeah.
So we're going to look at this really. Let's start reading. Mark's going to read for me from the 1.
For as much as many have taken in hand to set forth in order a declaration of those things which are most surely believed among us, even as they delivered them unto us, which from the beginning were eyewitnesses and ministers of the word. It seemed good to me also, having had perfect understanding of all things from the very first, to write unto you in order, most excellent Theophilus, that you might know the certainty of those things wherein you have been instructed. There was in the days of Herod, king of Yahud, a certain priest named Zachariah, of the course of Abiyahu, and his woman was of the daughters of Aaron, and her name was Elisheva. And they were both righteous before Yah, walking in all the commandments and ordinances of Yahweh blameless.
I love it when we find people that actually kept Torah. Because they try to tell you, oh, it's too hard. You can't do that. As soon as you tell them that you're keeping Shabbat, what next? You gonna sacrifice?
But it's New
Last time
Testament.
I-
They say nobody did Torah after New Testament. But
This-
some
this-
do.
Last time I checked, didn't Yahweh say my commands are not burdensome?
Burden is easy, yoke is light.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Yah finds a couple that are keeping Torah. Say, I like this people. Now let's back up for a second. We're not going to back up in verse, but back up in my mind thought. If you have to go into the Holy of Holies, you better live right.
Yeah.
So you had a whole list of priests that were righteous. Because if they weren't righteous, the bells hanging from their tassels stopped ringing. They're like, ooh, it's quiet up in there. Yeah, the rope's not moving. I guess we need to pull him out.
Drag him out.
And they drag him out and he's dead. They're like,
Drag
who's
him out.
next? And the priests are like,
Pick a number.
by lot. By lot. That means it's by the call of Yah. By lot. They just pull out a straw. And if you weren't living right, you're like, you sure you want me up in there? And you had to go. All right, so let's read. They were righteous. They kept Torah.
And they were righteous, and they were both righteous before Yah, walking in all the commandments and ordinances of Yahweh blameless. And they had no child because Elisheva was barren, and they both were now well stricken in years.
So it's not just Abraham and Sarah,
Right.
but they were old. They weren't having, yeah, that. They were old. It wasn't working anymore. Go ahead.
And it came to pass that while he executed the priest's office before Yahweh in the order of his course, according to the custom of the priest's office, his lot was to burn incense when he went into the temple of Yahweh. And the whole multitude of the people were praying without at the time of incense. And there appeared unto him an angel of Yahweh standing on the right side of the altar of incense. And when Zachariah saw him, he was troubled and fell upon him. But the angel said unto him, Fear not, Zachariah, for your prayer is heard, and your woman, Elisheva, shall bear you a son, and you shall call his name Yehukanan.
Now, see, if you saw the description of the temple, you had the outer court and then you had the inner court. If you're all the way in the inner court, you know nobody else up in there.
Mm-hmm.
The only person up in there should be you.
Mm-hmm.
And someone else shows up. They have a tunnel to get in. They're like, I would be scared. And he had the right to be a little bit frightened,
Yeah.
right? This man started talking to him. So let's hear what he had to say.
And you shall have joy and gladness, and many shall rejoice at his birth. For he shall be great in the sight of Yahweh, and shall drink neither wine nor strong drink. And he shall be filled with the Ruach HaKodesh, even from his mother's womb. And many of the children of Yisra'el shall he turn to El Yahweh Elohim. And he shall go before him in the Ruach, in the power of Eliyahu, to turn the hearts of the fathers to the children, and the disobedient to the wisdom of the just, to make ready a people prepared for Yahweh. And Zechariah said unto the angel, Whereby shall I know this? For I am an old man, and my woman well stricken in years.
Oh, wait a minute. He tells him, well, what are we talking about? I'm an old man, I'm stricken in years. This is not happening. In that small encounter, the angel, the messenger, said,
I love it.
something's wrong with your heart. We're talking about the heart, right? Because Yah examines the heart.
Yep.
So what did he do with the man that was righteous?
Silence.
He muted him.
He muted him. For how long?
So the baby was born.
Mm-hmm.
Next week?
Actually,
9 months, whatever.
Actually, was
10
longer.
a week after that, because he had to be named.
He had to finish out.
Yeah.
The birth and
He had to
the
finish out his lot, his time
Yeah.
with as the priest. He had to go home, do whippy with his wife, right? Wait 9 months for the baby to be born. So he's at maybe 10 months.
Even the 8 days afterward, because he didn't speak again until they were talking about what he was going to name it.
Right. So he was like 9 months and 8 days because his heart wasn't right.
Right. Mm.
Did you hear something offensive by what he said? Huh? He had doubt.
And that can
Yep.
ruin over his son. That can ruin his future.
He getting ready to prophesy. His next words were to prophesy on his son.
Wow.
Wow.
He shut his mouth.
Wow.
9 to 10 months.
You think about this.
That's kind
Shut up and you think about
that's
this.
kind of heavy, isn't it?
Yeah.
9 to 10 months, he shut him down.
No, but see, for me, it's like you silence a man, and then the very next thing he did was went home and made the baby, and then didn't open his mouth and say nothing.
Yeah, right.
What's that word?
Who's to
Say
say
your mouth-
that she wasn't pregnant already?
No, she wasn't.
She wasn't. He told her what was going to happen.
Because they were well stricken in years. He just said stop.
No, she wasn't.
There's
Let's
no
not
way
twist the script.
Okay. I was
Okay.
like, well, it might have been
Read,
before he went.
no, read the script and read it for what it is. We're not going to twist it. She was not. She was old and well stricken in age.
He just told the angel. Oh, what you mean? He going? My son.
This ain't going to happen.
She was probably like, what happened? What happened? You can't even be like, a doctor came to talk to me.
We got.
Y'all send me word, and she's like, I don't know what happened, but I like this.
So
He's silent, but he works.
let's keep it PG. But when he pulled off his clothing and she was like,
You know what?
oh boy.
No.
He didn't say a word.
No. I just don't, you know what? No. Yeah. No.
Come on, read, bro.
This is in the Bible. Y'all trying to be turned off, but it's the Bible.
It's in the book.
Oh, that wasn't in there.
You can, She wasn't.
Oh, that wasn't in there. Well, you know, you don't get
Gotta repeat lines.
He ain't say nothing.
Where we at?
Low battery.
And the angel answering said unto him, I am Gabriel, that stand in the presence of Yahuwah, and am sent to speak unto you, and to show you this good news. And behold, you shall be dumb and not able to speak until the day that these things shall be performed, because you believe not my words, which shall be fulfilled in their season. And the people waited for Zechariah and marveled that he tarried so long in the temple. And when he came out, he couldn't speak unto them. And they perceived that he had seen a vision in the temple, for he beckoned unto them and remained speechless. And it came to pass that as soon as the days of his ministration were accomplished, he departed to his own house. And after those days, his woman, Elisheva, conceived.
Okay, so there you go.
There it is.
Come on.
And hid herself 5 months, saying, Thus has Yah dealt with me in the days wherein he looked on me to take away my reproach among men. And in the 6th month, the angel Gabriel was sent from Yahuwah unto a city of Galilee named Nazareth, to a virgin espoused to a man whose name was Yosef, to the house of David. And the virgin's name was Mary.
Who?
The house of David.
And who did he go see? Who else was there? The house of David and what?
And the virgin's name was Mary.
And the what?
Virgin.
The virgin. Okay, so this whole thing about she's pregnant, she's a virgin.
Oh, but virgin mean damsel in the Old Testament.
Yes.
Or unmarried woman. Yeah.
Unmarried.
Mm-hmm.
I heard some other folks saying, "Oh no, she wasn't pregnant by Joseph, but by did you guys hear one about a Roman soldier or something like that?"
No,
It's
yeah.
awful. I was like, "Come on, you guys."
But the connotation is, see, we're coming from a gentrified mindset. We were not promiscuous people. That of fornication and adultery was sin. So when it's called
And what happened if you were caught with that? You were kicked out of the camp.
Right.
You were stoned. Stoned. We were like,
killed.
Hey, you can have 12 wives, but don't go around with somebody else's wife.
Yeah.
They were like, we don't do that here.
Right.
Come on, read.
26? 28.
28?
Yep. And the angel came in unto her and said, Hail, you that are highly favored. Yah is with you. Blessed are you among women. And when she saw him, she was troubled at his saying, and cast in her mind what manner of salutation this should be. And the angel said unto her, Fear not, Miriam, for you have found favor with Yah.
Okay, so he said the same thing about Zach and Elizabeth.
Yeah.
Do we put statues up and worship Zach and Elizabeth?
No.
So why should we do it with Mary? I mean, why should anyone do it with Mary?
Well, if you're Catholic, that's like...
Oh, I know. It's like, oh, you just did committed the the cardinal sin. Come on.
And angel said unto her, Fear not, Miriam, for you have found favor with Yah. And behold, you shall conceive in your womb, and bring forth a son, and shall call his name Yahusha. He shall be great, and shall be called the son of El Elyon. And Yahuwah Elohim shall give unto him the throne of his father David.
Psalms 24. Who is this King of glory? Right?
Right.
The one who Yah gives the throne to. Right? Come on.
And he shall reign over the house of Yaakov forever, and of his kingdom there shall be no end.
No end.
Then said Miriam unto the angel, How shall this be, seeing I know not a man? And the angel answered and said unto her, The Ruach HaKodesh shall come upon you, and the power of El Elyon shall overshadow you.
I was in the church for 30 years, and I don't remember ever a pastor getting up and calling the Holy Spirit by his name.
Yeah.
It's like baffling that
Right.
how twisted our book has become, and how the people that should be telling and speaking truth won't even call the
Right
Father
name.
by his name,
Right
the
name.
Son by his name,
Right.
the Ruach by his name. It's all Greekism.
Mm-hmm.
The power of El Elyon shall overshadow you. Therefore, also that holy thing which shall be born of you shall be called the Son of Elohim.
There he is. And it's going to be done by the Ruach coming in you. It's not there's no man mentioned. If he can create something out of dirt, then why do we have a problem with the virgin birth? It's so bizarre that we can't see the act of Yah because of our wicked imagination.
The heart. Zechariah just did the same thing when the angel told him.
It's like, why would he be frightened? I mean, why did he question this? This happened before. It happened. It literally happened before. Right. The man that he says he worship, they know that they say they worship the Creator, the Yah of
their fathers.
Their fathers. Who their fathers?
Abraham.
There you go, Father. The father of Abraham. And how old was Abraham? When he had his first child.
It was 8.
He's about 100 years old.
100.
On the way.
Yeah.
Come on.
And behold, your cousin Elisheva, she has also conceived a son in her old age. And this is the 6th month with her, who was called barren. For with Yah nothing shall be impossible. And Miriam said, behold, the handmaid of Yahweh, be it unto me according to your word. And the angel departed from her. And Miriam arose in those days and went into the hill country with haste into a city of Yehuda, and entered into the house of Zachariahu and saluted Elisheva. And it came to pass that when Elisheva heard the salutation of Miriam, the baby leaped in her womb, and Elisheva was filled with the Ruach HaKodesh. And she spoke out with a loud voice and said, blessed are you among women, and blessed is the fruit of your womb. And whence is this to me, that the mother of my Adonai shall come to me? For lo, as soon as the voice of your salutation sounded in my ears, the baby leaped in my womb for joy. And blessed is she that believed, for there shall be a performance of those things which were told her from Yahweh.
Okay, so now I have to give you this. For 3 months, they stayed with her. You guys know about pregnancy, right? The last 3 months, what's that called?
Trimester.
The last,
Third
the
Third
third.
trimester.
On the third trimester. Okay, so we just heard New York is saying, you can kill the baby. And he said, whatever.
All right.
During that time, he brings along Mary to support her to make it through. During the hardest time of your life, Yah will find that right person and will bring them alongside you and help you get through it.
And it was a good teaching tool for Mary.
And it helped both sides.
Praise Yah.
Yah never leaves us stranded without another witness. He tells all of us, read the book. I have 7,000 who have not bowed to Baal. And he oftentimes finds someone and puts them alongside of us as a support mechanism.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when the rubber meets the road.
Yeah.
Especially when it gets rough.
I'm just thinking about that. I think it's a little bit more to it because in those days, as it is sometimes now, they had women in their community that handled all of that.
Like midwives?
They were midwives and just people who helped you through your pregnancy. It was a community, so they did that on their own. I tend to think that he had them go to Zachariah and Elizabeth because then Yeshua was going to be born around people who had that spirit, who he had already anointed with that spirit, who were just not some midwife or some people, even family, who weren't walking with him that closely, but he was, they had heard from him. He was a priest. His wife was anointed to have John. It was a whole lot in that who Mary was with, who she was surrounded by during that time. There was no negative or unbelief or all that. They were living that same thing was happening to them both.
And scientists are now saying that you want positive energy, positive messages to the child that's inside of you. So you put good music on, you make sure that they're around because they're hearing the person inside has a brain. They can hear, they can feel, they have emotions. I spake this earlier. The value of the baby is as equal to the parent.
Right.
The two people. We don't accept abortion, period. Killing of the baby is a no-no. We don't say, well, what if, and no. Killing is killing. Thou shalt not kill. You're murdering. If it's 1 month, if it's 5 days, if it's 9 months. Let's make that clear. The Ark of New Jersey does not support, back up, agree with, align with anybody that thinks that abortion at any stage is acceptable. What verse are we in?
48. 46.
46.
And Miriam said, my soul magnifies Yahuwah, and my Ruach has rejoiced in Yah, my Savior. For he has regarded the low estate of his handmaiden. For behold, from henceforth all generations shall call me blessed. For he that is mighty has done to me great things, and holy is his name. And his mercy is on them that fear him from generation to generation. He has showed strength with his arm. He has scattered the proud in the imagination of their hearts. He has put down the mighty from their seats and exalted them of low degree. He has filled the hungry with good things, and the rich he has sent empty away. He has helped his servant Yisra'el in remembrance of his mercy, as he spoke to our fathers, to Abraham, and to his seed forever. And Miriam abode with her about 3 months, and returned to her own house. Now Elishava's full time came, that she should be delivered, and she brought forth a son. And her neighbors and her cousins heard how Yahweh had showed great mercy upon her, and they rejoiced with her. And it came to pass that on the 8th day, that they came to circumcise the child, and they called him Zachariah after the name of his father. And his mother answered and said, Not so, but he shall be called Yahukanan. And they said unto her, There is none of your kindred that is called by this name. And they made signs to his father how he would have called him. And he asked for a writing table and wrote, saying, His name is Yahukanan. And they marveled all. And his mouth was opened immediately, and his tongue loosed, and he spoke and praised Yah.
Okay, so he praised Yah. First time he starts speaking, I can talk again.
Yeah.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Probably first words out of his mouth. Hallelujah. Somebody give me out of the Sefer. Is it Sefer?
It's in here.
Okay. Zach's name. Spell out his name.
Zachariah is
Cakar. Yahoo.
Yahoo.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah, it means Yahuwah has remembered.
So the name was changed again.
Right.
And forgive me because forever I've called him Zachariah, and that's what I'm reading the King James. Right?
Right.
His name had Yah in it. Yahweh.
Right.
At the end. Right?
Most of them.
And most of our names have carry who we were.
Mm-hmm.
That's why
Yeah.
my people call by my name.
My people called by my name.
Right.
Right? But
Second Chronicles.
But we
5.
read through the book
Well, first.
and we see his people, but none of them are called by his name. John, Peter, George, Frank.
Well, that's why we changed our names when we came off the boat.
Right.
But that's also why it's up to us to say the names correctly. You know, that's always my
Exactly. I mean, it's
thing. Say the name the right way, because that's also the beginning of speaking Hebrew, I think, as well.
Yes.
To say it at all times, regardless of how we see it written, to know internally. I always try to do either the mental switch while I'm reading, or if I'm reading out loud, to switch the name.
and
Eov or
right, but it's hard because if you read through the King James, ESV, and all these other books, they all have taken our name and Greekanized it.
Mm-hmm.
I like that word.
But the mind, when it rains,
Yeah.
then you take it all back.
You got to take it back.
Yeah.
What do you got to say down there, Moshe?
So I just and brought now at this moment to a remembrance of roots, because one of the most known scenes around the world.
Kunta Kinte.
Yeah.
And I think
Oh, cut his foot off.
is an alteration of truth, because it very well was Tobiyahu,
Right.
but they're trying to say something else in backwards. But either way, they're beating one name out of him, trying to force him to accept a different name. And all the other slaves or his people that were witnesses to this are witnessing the torture and torment that he's going through over a name.
Over a name.
Over a name.
They went through a thing with that. I remember when it was live the first time it came on. It was like
That's what struck me, yes.
they went crazy on this thing over a name.
But the name,
And I didn't know what I was looking at.
right, none of us did. But the name is telling the world
Who we are.
he is and whose we are. Who and whose, right?
Right.
Because my people call by my name. Telling you, this is my people. And he's saying this is my name, and they're like, nah. And they beating the name out of him.
The name directs us to a black people. Not an Indian. Not a Mexican. The name reflects us back to a black people. And I'm going to show you verses in the script of who we are. Come on. Tonight, we're going to look at it. I got about 6 verses I want us to look at. Come on.
52. He has put down the mighty from their seats and exalted them of low degree. He has filled the hungry with good things, and the rich he has sent away empty. He has helped his servant Yisra'el in remembrance of his mercy, as he spoke to our fathers, to Abraham, and to his seed forever. And Miriam abode with her about 3 months, and returned to her own house. Now Elisha was full-time king. Oh wait, I read most of this.
No, you did. Go ahead.
Okay, now Elisha was full-time king that she should be delivered, and she brought forth a son. And her neighbors and her cousins heard how Yahuwah showed great mercy upon her, and they rejoiced with her. And it came to pass that on the 8th day they came to circumcise the child, and they called him Zachariahu after the name of his father. And his mother answered and said, Not so, but he should be called Yehukanan. And they said unto her, There is none of your kindred that is called by that name. And they made signs to his father how he would have called him. And he asked for a writing table and wrote, saying, His name is Yehukanan. And they all marveled. And his mouth was opened immediately, and his tongue loosed, and he spoke and praised Yah. And fear came on all that dwelt round about them. And all these sayings were noised abroad throughout all the hill country of Yehud. And all they that heard them laid them up in their hearts, saying, What manner of child shall this be? And the hand of Yahweh was with him. And his father, Zachariahu, was filled with the Ruach HaKodesh and prophesied, saying,
And now we step into, it took us a long time to get here. But now we step into the prophecy of Zach. These are words that were given to Zach about his son.
You ready?
It's cool to see your kids achieve and overachieve. But when Yah gives you a layout, now you're like, this is prophecy. This is not something that Zach came up with. He could not have thought of this by himself.
Mm-hmm.
So let's read.
Blessed be Yahweh.
We're at
verse 68, Luke 1.
Luke 1:68.
Blessed be Yahweh Elohim of Yasharal, for he has visited and redeemed his people.
Point 1. He visited and redeemed who?
His people.
His people. Talking about a people.
Right.
Talking about his people. Go ahead.
And has raised up a horn of Yeshua for us in the house of his servant David. And he spoke by the mouth of his holy prophets, which have been since the world began.
Since the world began, Yah has given. Who's the first prophet? Since the world began.
Adam.
Yeah.
Adam.
Okay. Yeah.
Since the world began. The first one he made was a prophet.
Right.
He prophesied into the lives of the animals.
Mm-hmm.
Really.
Wow.
From day one. And Yah has given the gift of prophecy. What is a prophet?
One who tells
the will of
what's going to happen, or the will of God, who speaks the will, the word of God. What?
A nabi. A nabi is a Hebrew word for prophet.
How would you spell it? Is that
It's
Nabi?
it's N-A-B-I.
Nabi.
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 Bet.
No.
Okay. What is it?
It'd be Noon Bet, and then I don't know what the last, probably a Yod.
Let me see what
You have to look it up. Are you looking it up?
Yeah, it's 50-30 out of the Strongs. It's interesting, the word Nabi. Prophet is like, Prophet's on channel 10, I think it is, 29. The TV show, right? What is a Nabi? Somebody find it yet?
Are you saying a Nabib with a B on the end?
Mm-hmm. B-I. N-A-B-I.
N-A-B-I. Okay, not Nabib, but not a B on the end.
Right, Nabi.
Noon Bet Yod
Nabi.
Aleph.
Say it, Lauren.
Noon Bet Yod Aleph.
Noon, bet, you,
Aleph.
oh.
Allah.
All right, so help me out with that.
That would be it.
What's the first?
The seed air is Noon.
Noon.
Right.
The seed,
And that's the
house.
in the house is
the house,
Or family.
mm-hmm.
the Yod is the hand.
Or the
the
word.
hand.
And Aleph is the
It's a captain.
It's a leader.
So taking the seed, the word, out of the house, are directing the word back to the house? How would we put that?
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh. My understanding, just briefly, without studying it, I would say the seed is you're taking the seed out of the house,
Mm-hmm.
and then
Taking
you're what's that?
Taking the seed out of the house. Okay. Because we didn't study the word.
Oh, I'm like,
Bet,
Bet.
Yod,
You is like
and Aleph.
hand or work.
So there's other words that's applicable because you have an heir, a son. Power is for in family. Womb is the bet. No, bet.
Yod.
Yo is the hand, the work, the worship, the deed. And then the Aleph is strong power, leader, and source.
the actual word is new. That Allah kind of taken away. That Yod is in there for.
Right, because it's a
The
three
root
letter
word is
word.
new. That Allah.
Right.
Nun bet Aleph.
So it's the heir
Air.
to the
Is that word also
strong power.
speech?
Heir.
Air.
Manifest.
H-E-I-R.
Oh, okay. The
Yeah,
air.
right.
Like
Manifest is also the nun.
so you're manifesting the word from out of the house, which is the father is actually giving the word
Right. It's
out
coming
of Yah's house.
Right.
Okay, so where are we at?
Hold on, I'm still there.
30,
No.
I mean,
69.
70,
70.
What's that? Luke
maybe 70.
Luke
Luke
Just
1.
one.
since the
verse 70.
world began.
And he has spoke by the mouth of his holy prophets, which have been since the world began, that we should be saved from our enemies and from the hand of all that hate us.
Wow.
To perform.
This
Oh,
you
sorry.
can't go any further than that
I'm sorry.
because
Could I say it again?
yeah, read it
And
again.
he spoke by the mouth of his holy prophets, which have begun since the world began, that we should be saved from our enemies and from the hand of all that hate us.
So this is what John the Baptist is going to teach. That a little bit more than repent for the kingdom of Yah is at hand. But he's coming. The one that's coming after me is going to deliver you from your enemy. Your enemy. The word enemy comes up a couple times. We have an enemy.
Yeah.
It's not for us to defend, but the king is going to come and to deliver us. He's the king. We already know who the king is.
Right.
All right, so come on.
To perform the mercy promised to our fathers and to remember his holy covenant, the oath which he swore to our father Abram, that he would grant unto us that we being delivered out of the hand of our enemies might serve him without fear, in holiness and righteousness before him all the days of our life.
Can we do one thing?
Sure.
We're going to finish this up, but I need someone that can read real quick for me. Take me to Bereshit, chapter 15.
Verse 13. I don't even know it because I say it to people a whole lot.
Oh,
13.
no, I want someone to read quick. I want you to read the whole thing until I tell you to stop. After these, verse 15, chapter 15.
After these events,
No, can I have a grown up? Can I have a grown up,
Yeah.
please? I'm sorry.
All right. After these things, the word of Yahuwah came unto Abraham in a vision, saying, Fear not, Abraham, I am your shield, and your exceeding great reward. And Abraham said, Adonai Yahuwah, what will you give me, seeing I go childless, and the steward of my house is this Eleazar of Damascus?
Here's another old man without a baby.
Right.
Go ahead.
It's
And
Abram, not Abram.
Abram.
And Abram said, Behold, to me you have given no seed, and lo, one born in my house is my heir. And behold, the word of Yahuwah came unto him, saying, This shall not be your heir, but he that shall come forth out of your own generation shall be your heir.
Now he's talking about his son. Well, he just talked about somebody else, right? That's why he shouldn't have been excited about this, because here's his grandpa, right? Here's Abraham, and Abraham is old, right?
Right.
Without a seed.
Right.
And Yah starts promising him a seed. Chanel, go to 23, 14, chapter 14. Hold your point there.
23.
Yes.
That I will not take from a thread even to a shoe latchet, and that I will not take anything that is thine, lest thou shouldest say, I have made Abram rich, save only that which the young men have eaten, and the portion of the men which went out with me. Aner, Ashok, and Mer, let them take their portion.
All right, so I had to back up real quick because that shoelace, the shoelace, I get a shoe latchet is the same word that John the Baptist said. He said that shoe latchet is not. I'm not even worthy to untie it or tie it.
That's right.
Speaking about Yeshua, but he used this terminology in talking about giving. He said, I don't want anything out of this. And we would go back to 14, but in due lack of time. But he shared with Melchizedek this whole thing. I don't want to. I'm not in it for the money. This is not about the money. So let's go back. I just had to throw that out there real quick because homework. Read 14. You know, the 3 kings and the 4 kings fighting against, and they take against Sodom and Gomorrah, and they take in Luke, and he had to go rescue them. And then Melchizedek meets them in the field, and he brings forth food and bread, and they have an offering, and he gives them an offering. This is the whole mindset that we should have, and we're expecting the 400 years to be up. We should be in the mindset of Abraham. A mindset of willing to give and share and accept. We're talking about tithes, but we're not talking about that right now. We'll come back and read that maybe next week. Go ahead and read that. Where you at? I'm out of time, and I got to keep going.
Bereshit 15:5.
Bereshit 15:5.
And he brought him forth abroad and said, Look now toward the heavens and tell the stars, if you be able to number them. And he said unto him, So shall your seed be. And he believed in Yahuwah, and he counted it to him for righteousness. And he said unto him, I am Yahuwah that brought you out of Ur of the Chaldeans to give you this land to inherit it. And he said, Adonai Yahuwah, whereby shall I know that I shall inherit it? And he said unto him, Take me a heifer of 3 years old, and a she-goat of 3 years old, and a ram of 3 years old, and a turtle dove, and a young pigeon. And he took unto him all these, and divided them in the midst, and laid each piece one against another. But the birds divided he not. And when the fowls came down upon the carcasses, Abram drove them away. And when the sun was going down, a deep sleep fell upon Abram. And lo, a horror of great darkness fell upon him. And he said unto Abram, Know of a surety that your seed shall be a stranger in a land that is not theirs, and shall serve them, and shall afflict them 400 years. And they shall afflict them 400 years. And also that nation whom they shall serve will I judge. And afterward shall they come out with great substance. And you shall go to your fathers in peace. You shall be buried in a good old age. But in the 4th generation they shall come hither again. For the iniquity of the Amorim is not yet full. And it came to pass that when the sun went down and it was dark, behold, a smoking furnace.
Here we go with fire. Here come that cloud again. Smoke.
A smoking furnace and a burning lamp that passed between those pieces. And in the same day, Yahuwah cut a covenant with Abram, saying, Unto your seed have I given this land, from the river of Mizraim unto the great river, the river of Parat, the Quinian,
He's cutting covenant. Come on, he's creating a covenant.
the Kenizzium, and the Quadamonium, and the Chittim, and the Perizim, and the Rephaim, and the Morium, and the Canadian, and the Gigrashian, and the Yebusian. Wow.
So all this is the land promised to Abraham. Mark?
Mhm.
Let's finish this up.
Luke 1, right?
Back to Luke 1. That was the covenant cut by Abraham by Yahweh with Abraham. He said 400 years your people will be in captivity. Anybody know who that could possibly be?
Mm-mm.
The Jewish people. The Ashkenaz.
Who could that possibly be?
They went
400 years in captivity.
that happened in Egypt already.
Right.
Never has it happened in the life of any people besides the blacks. Yeah, I said it. The blacks here in the United States of America.
I'll second you.
United
I was about to say that.
the corporation.
Well, verse 70. As he spoke by the mouth of his holy prophets, which have been since the world began, that we should be saved from our enemies and from the hand
Saved from our enemies.
of all that hate us, to perform the mercy promised to our fathers and to remember his holy covenant.
And trust me, there are people out there that hate you.
And to remember,
I don't even have to say that to us because we experience it day and night. There are people that hate you. You go into another nation and those people will still look at you funny. I remember prisoners of war. They talked about the prisoners of war. Placed them all in jail. On the freight train. And it took their prisoners that they're killing. Right? When they got the black ones, they separated the black ones and gave them the less than the very one that they hated. Their own enemies. But they looked at us and like, you know what, you're even worse than their enemies. Oh, there's a people that hate you. It's worldwide. It's worldwide hatred. The N-word is universal. It's not just one group that calls us the N-word. Everybody will call it to us. We're a byword. Come on.
to perform the mercy promised to our fathers and to remember his holy covenant, the oath which he swore to our father Abram,
which we just read,
that he would grant unto us that we being delivered out of the hand of our enemies might serve him without fear, in holiness and righteousness before him all the days of our lives. And you, child, shall be called the prophet of El Elyon, for you shall go before the face of Yahuwah to prepare his ways, to give knowledge of Yeshua unto his people by the remission of their sins, through the tender mercy of our Yahuwah, whereby the day spring from on high has visited us, to give light to them that sit in darkness and in the shadow of death, to guide our feet into the way of peace. And the child
way of
grew,
shalom, peace.
and the child grew and waxed strong in the Ruach, and was in the deserts to the day of his showing unto Yisra'el.
Verse 78. Through thy tender mercies, O
Through
Yahweh.
thy tender mercies of our Yahuwah, whereby the day spring from on high has visited us.
Who?
The day spring from on high.
Has visited who?
Us.
The word has always been to us. Us first. and then those who come alongside us. I have 4 verses that I want you to write down because we're doing lack of time. Jeremiah 8:21. Jeremiah 14:2. Job 30:30. Lamentation. Yeah, lamentation.
Almost.
Lamentation. 4:8. Lamentation. Good. Lamentation. I'm gonna get it up. 5:10. And Daniel 10 through 2 through 10.
Daniel 10, 2 through 10.
Yes.
Okay.
Those verses all are verses that identify Yah's people as being what?
Black.
Negroid.
Black, as they say. Actually, even in the book, some people say black's not a color, but even in the book it says black.
No, they mean tan.
Olive.
Like ain't
Even
like
though
olives.
olives are
When you get to Daniel, when you get to Daniel 10, it's speaking of one of Yah's messengers, and his messenger's black. It's like, okay, so listen to me very clearly. Yeshua is identified as black. Hair looking like your hair, woolly. Skin bronze.
Burnt bronze.
Burnt bronze. His angel identified as black. His people identified as black. All of these people worship on Shabbat. All of these people had melanin in their skin. And you want to go worship on Sunday to a white person? You're stupid. On Sunday to a white person?
Full circle. Full circle. Right?
You had to say that twice.
Yeah.
A confirming witness.
Yeah.
You know what?
I'm sorry I took long,
No.
but it took a while to get to where we need to go. Thank you for your
Very needed.
patience.
Yeah.
Thank you for your, the sitting here and enduring me as I go through what I wanted to go through.
Good stuff.
There was more I wanted to bring out, but the time doesn't permit. I'll finish it on Wednesday night, though.
All right.
Shalom.
Shalom.
Shalom.